What was that?
What? Hello and welcome to Classically Weird. My name is Headmaster Howard. I am your host for today's episode, and joining me as always is my lovely wife and partner in this endeavor, Miss Ragana Ray.
Hello, fellow weird, and hello, my love.
Hello, my love. So today we're journeying through the movie The Rite.
That's R-I-T-E, not R-I-G-H-T. We are talking about religion, not wrong turns.
Yes, spiritual directions, not...
Directions.
Yeah, right? So this movie is brought to us by Mikael Håfström, same director as 1408.
I can see that. I can see that when you say that, because there is definitely some similarities in the directorial of the style in the movies.
Absolutely.
Why did we pick The Rite? The Rite is... because usually we give a shout out to somebody who has given us a movie. So The Rite is your pick. This time it's your pick. Why did you pick The Rite for us to review?
Honestly, it's a movie that I saw a long time ago. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And revisiting it is something I have wanted to do for a little while.
Okay, good. Good pick. Good pick. I had seen it years ago, and I don't think I tried to go back through my brain, and I hadn't picked it up, and there was a lot of things in it that I had forgotten about. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that was a good one. So thank you for picking this one.
It was fun revisiting it from a different perspective.
Yes, definitely. That's the other thing that's neat about this when you and I are discussing movies, because we are going back and revisiting things, but you and I get to talk about them on our level of today, and with your psychology background and my weird background, you know, like, we just get to have some good conversation around it.
It is fun.
Yes. Thank you for being here with me.
Absolutely.
And with that,
my love, let's start diving into the plot.
Okay.
Of The Rite.
The Rite.
So The Rite kicks things off with Michael Kovac, who basically grew up in a funeral home, so, you know, for him, death is just a Tuesday. Instead of developing a strong faith, though, he kind of goes the other way. He gets detached, skeptical. He ends up in a seminary, essentially priest school, but it's not because he feels the call. It's more like, well, at least this gets me out of embalming bodies.
Yep. Priesthood or being a mortician. Those were the options. That's what he felt his options were.
You know, honestly, relatable.
Really?
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could, if I'm stuck between those two options, I may...
You would go mortuary.
I may stay in the mortuary sciences. However, I also, at one point in my life, did actually feel a calling for the cloth.
Really?
I did.
Wow. Wow.
I was actually told a lot as a young kid that I should have been a pastor, I should have been a priest, I should have been in the cloth.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like to throw out to people that know me really well and who I am today that my first job that I had to pay taxes on was at a Christian bookstore. And I am not a Christian anymore. And I really wasn't at the time, because there was a push in family to follow a certain religion, and that included, like, let's just appeal, and oh hey, a Christian bookstore is hiring.
I feel a lot of people can relate to that journey.
It was that journey of finding yourself, and this is what Michael was doing in that, is finding himself in between the two options that were laid out before him.
Absolutely, I fully agree. Now, when he tries to quit, his mentor basically says, before you throw the church away, why don't you just go to Rome, study exorcism? Mm-hmm. Honestly, that's part of the cloth that would intrigue me.
Oh my gosh. As we were watching this again, and the moment that the main character Michael is trying to get out of becoming a priest. And at one point he actually says it when he's talking to a friend. He says, look, it's a 4-year degree, and before I even take the priesthood, I can get the heck out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So even from the beginning, he wasn't really into the priesthood, so he was making his exit. And when that mentor just came running to him, it was like, no, I see something in you, which is now another time that somebody has seen something in him, because his mother is a big reflection. And the entire movie is around the archangel Michael. Yep. And he is Michael. And that whole process in them going to the Vatican, I saw that for you hands down. There, you would have been like, what day do I leave?
Yeah, when's my plane arrive?
It would have been no, like, oh, I can do that. But he was not in the spiritual side. He still didn't believe it. We, on the other hand, have different beliefs than what Michael did at that time in his life in the beginning of the movie.
Absolutely. Before we start continuing on, fun little fact, I actually just figured this out before we started recording this. This was fun. I never knew this. Michael's mentor there, the actor who plays the
father priest,
the father superior, and is the voice of Dobby.
Stop!
He's the voice of Dobby the elf.
Stop.
Yeah. On top of being in the MCU
and all the other things. I'm only laughing too because we recently went down a Harry Potter. We're just rewatching the movies, and we've started
for fun,
and we started reading with our kids. So the other night, you had stepped out of the room, and where are we at? We're the one where Dobby dies, and I already had Hedwig die. And immediately I was like, oh, as soon as Bellatrix threw her, was it a knife or was it her wand? No, she wouldn't have thrown her wand. No. And Dobby comes through. I was like, nope. I can't handle that. So that's great. Man, talk about voice actor. Because I would have never guessed that.
I had no clue.
Never would have guessed that. Yeah. That's great.
And I found that out maybe a few minutes before we started recording this.
Wow, nice little keep there. Nice little keep. That's good.
That's fun.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Now, what I did find interesting in this, he was kind of forced into going to Rome and the exorcism school, because the father said, we could choose to turn your scholarship into a student loan.
Yep.
And you'd owe us $100,000 worth of education.
Yep.
And Michael's like, why would you do that?
And why are we watching a priest blackmail somebody into going to an exorcist program? But yeah, and like earlier when I said he thought he had a potential out, but they're like, no, this could become a student loan. And as somebody that holds student loans, don't do it. So so he does. He constantly has this push, because from the beginning, we see that he doesn't come from a wealthy family.
No.
So his mother passed early in his age, and he actually witnesses his father caring for her body. There's a lot of intimacy in the mortician aspect when they're really reviewing his life with his father. All the way down to, and I found this to be interesting because we're still in the beginning of the movie, and I don't know much about mortuary...
The mortuary sciences?
Well, not the mortuary sciences, but philosophies. Because the father says, so he has a person that has passed, and now mind you, there is a lot of triggers in this movie for people because of the different aspects that they end up covering in this, with the demonic possession, why the girl is possessed, and unfortunately the girl that he has unalived herself. And so he asks his father, he says, so how did she do it? A curious mind, and wanting to know what happened to this young girl. And the father says, Michael, we don't talk about the dead. And I wondered during that scene, is that a philosophy across all mortuaries? Like, we just don't talk about the dead, but then we honor the living, we honor the dead by carrying them on. So that was kind of curious to me. So there was not only this aspect of, it's a small town, almost felt like a small town family mortuary.
Yes.
And he has said to his friend, there's no way my father can help me with school. The priest has come along and said, we could turn this into $100,000, or you could go on to the missionary, or not the missionary, the exorcism class. So again, he's stuck. He's sitting there and, okay, well, do I go back home to become a mortician? Where he was doing it. It was good, but it's not where he was happy at.
So you there going on that journey, bringing up how he was stuck between two choices, actually sparked in my head the story of the crossroads. You're stuck between two choices, and the devil meets you at the crossroads. And what do we see happen?
Yes.
He picks a path, and the devil meets him on his path.
Yes.
Quite interesting.
Yes, it is.
Now, when Michael gets to Rome, he becomes the audience stand-in. Up until that point, we were just watching him on screen. He was really like the main focus.
The main guy, yes.
But once he gets to Rome and he gets fully engrossed into the classes and starts meeting with Father Lucas, played by Anthony Hopkins, so on and so forth, he becomes the audience stand-in. So we're now watching from his perspective the events that are happening around. Not necessarily him, because up until that point, the audience has been focused on him and his journey to this. But now we're taking in all the information of this different side of things, this different world that people really don't ever get to see, which is interesting. So he becomes a literary audience stand-in. It was fun.
So Michael gets over to the Vatican. He goes in, and we've got a classroom filled. For a moment, as they were scanning the classroom, because you walk in and the father was it like a father superior that's teaching the class, and they've got all of this possession stuff up, and my eyes immediately scanned. I'm like, I wonder if Lorraine Warren's in there somewhere. So, because it was the same kind of sort of scan as Conjuring, and the same sort of dynamic classroom that they were in. And that's an interesting that you call out, because you're right. The way the perspective changed, and now we're watching it through Michael's eyes of what is happening. His experience.
Now, when he meets Father Lucas, played by Anthony freaking Hopkins. Sir Anthony Hopkins. Absolutely amazing, astonishing in this role. He's a little quirky. He's a little weird. Also, he's grizzled in a way. He's seen so many exorcisms and done so much supernatural experiences that he's just kind of like, all right.
But what was the word that the Father Superior used for him? Because Michael is in a point where he's still like, I don't believe in this. He's still coming from a very psychology aspect in his mind,
very scientific.
And they did call that out. And earlier they're like, you aced psychology, so you see it later on where he is. Well, what about the psychological aspect of this, and this? And then that father sends him over to Father Lucas, and he's like, he's Welsh. And his practices are a little unconventional. And when you meet him, holy cannolis, are his practices a little unconventional. You're like, where are you going with this, Father?
It's almost like he doesn't take it seriously.
It really is.
But he does.
But he does.
And
there's some serious questions in there of faith on a couple different aspects.
There's a couple times that they talk about the questioning of faith and what it is that you actually believe in, especially for Sir Anthony Hopkins' role in this, where he's like, there's been so much that has happened. I don't know if I believe in God, the devil, or Santa Claus, or Tinkerbell.
Yep.
Like, what?
Yep, that there are some days that even he, as a priest and a follower, has lost faith and will be in bed for weeks just trying to figure it out, and then he comes back out of it.
Yeah.
So seeing that other side of the holy man, be a man of God, having struggles like us all with our beliefs.
It's very humanizing.
It was. Yeah. And he was a very humanizing and quirky demonologist and exorcist.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was very human. Now, once Michael meets Father Lucas, they start showing some of the exorcism side of things. We're really following one major case of the exorcisms that are being done, and it's a little bit different than exorcisms have been portrayed in other media. Usually in other media, if you take The Conjuring or The Exorcist, so on and so forth, it's a big build up to a one-time event, and they pull them out, and it's like kind of a one and done. This is far more close to what a true exorcism is actually like. It's a piece at a time, and it's done over a length of time. Even Father Lucas in this says, look, it's a process. Sometimes they take weeks, sometimes they take months, and you have to just be diligent. You bring them in a little bit at a time, do what you need to do, send them on their way, let them rest. And we see that happen with this girl. As Father Lucas is exposing Michael to the truth of the possession in this case, they bring up several times the unknowable truth. Now, the first way that we see this depicted, Michael takes a American dollar, a single dollar, out of his pocket, puts it into a bag that you can't see through, keeps it to himself. They go upstairs to the exorcist room. They ask this girl, what's in the bag? What's in the bag? There's no way she could have known. She wasn't in the room. There's no way to communicate it with her, so on. And she nails it. After a little pushing from Father Lucas, she nails it. That unknowable truth is one of the easiest ways to diagnose somebody as being possessed.
Potentially possessed. The unknowable truth. How did you know what I said so far away? How do you know what's in the bag? How do you know who's downstairs? You were up here when people came inside the house. How do you know? The unknowable truths. Yes.
Yep. And we see that in a lot of exorcism movies.
The questioning of the demon before you can get the name out.
Yes. Because the name gives you dominion over
the demon.
Yeah.
And they will guard that and hold that until it is beaten out of them, essentially. And the girl that is possessed in all of this is also a teenage pregnant girl.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there is some SA that was involved in that also brings you to question, is this girl possessed, or is she dealing with the trauma of having gone through the reason that she is now pregnant and is acting out in a way that may seem demonic or possessed to other people? And that's also the spiritual psychological debate that continually happens, because Michael comes in and says, well, has she been treated? Has she been treated? Who has she talked to? Who's this? And who's the father? And all of those questions. But he's still mind blown at, how did she know that there was an American dollar? Because she called it out specifically, an American dollar in the bag. So he's now perplexed because he still wants to fight for those psychological hard answers, but he's holding and looking at an unknowable truth.
Yes, there is that side of it where, like you said, Michael goes in, he starts questioning whether or not it is a psychological phenomenon brought on through trauma. But it comes out in the movie that it was because of the trauma that the demon was actually able to take hold. Because she was SA'd by someone who was supposed to be her protector and provider. Was her father. And that's how she got pregnant.
Yep. And that's what I mean in this movie, that there are those triggers for people. And that was a heavy one to look at, because then there's another case with another child, and you have to look at those things. Is there abuse in the home? Is there something else going on? Is it a true mental thing? And that also puts a little bit of fear in people, if you think about it. That little bit of, oh my gosh, you could impregnate somebody with a demon through a bad action? What? That's I didn't even really think about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wow. Such a savage act could turn into such a demonic thing. I mean, people have talked about that poltergeists can appear because of, residual energy building up. But to cast a demon, that was interesting.
Yeah, because essentially through a traumatic act like that, you can actually crack the soul. You can take a piece of the soul.
And what do demons feed on?
That leaves a gap for the demon to make its way in.
We traditionally see and have been faced with demons come through the eyes, they come through because there was a mirror. It's always been something else. So that putting into a film was unsettling for me and gave another level of just like, ooh, that's something to really think about. And also when he talks about that you do this over a process, that this is, he invites her in for like an hour. I'm going to say safely, based on, we're going to have an hour-long session, and then sends her on her way. And I'm thinking, how do you send somebody on their way with a demon in them? And how many people are walking around being treated by priests with demons in them right now?
Probably more than you would think.
I know, right? That's just wild to think about too.
It really is.
Yeah.
Eventually we do see this girl die in the film. The demon finally
takes his reward.
Takes his trophy and goes.
Yeah, trophy's a better word, not reward. Because that's, yeah. And the child, unfortunately.
Yes. With that, Father Lucas is traumatized. Again, he just lost another one. He did mention earlier in the film that he had lost a boy that he had been treating. And it stuck with him. It sent him into a depression for months. And now we see him starting to crack again. Now, that moment, I think, is where Baal, who is the demon in this, really got its teeth into Father Lucas. Yes.
And please refresh my memory. Did the demon that was in the girl ever say who the demon was? Because
I'm operating under the assumption that it was Baal.
Okay.
Because of the pure similarities between what this girl was experiencing, what the boy was experiencing, what Father Lucas was experiencing. They're all saying the same things and have the same voices coming through. The same things are being said by the demon to Michael.
Okay, so I'm going to, along the same lines, agree with that, because the scene, the demon takes the girl, and so now it doesn't have a vessel. So the demon's just floating per se. And when Michael comes in and he's like, what happens? What happens now? And he says, it's over. It moves on to somebody else. And it leaves it there. Well, we realize where the demon went into with his little cracked soul. Now, I was under the impression there was two demons with two different, the Zulu. Yes, because Baal is the donkey with the red eyes.
The mule.
The mule with the red eyes. So all three, also the little boy was being plagued by Baal as well. Yep. And yes, so then Baal moves into Father Lucas.
Yep.
And Father Lucas, what was interesting to me about his possession, and yes, they were going through all the same things, but he talks about how strong it is. And for him having been in the faith, in and out of the faith, let's just say, fighting his faith.
Well, he never gave up the cloth.
Well, true. He never gave up the cloth, but he had those moments of doubt.
Yes.
And now he is battling the internals of knowing all the things they say, because he talks about it. They know all of your secrets. They know all of your sins, and that they keep talking to him. There's actually a sad scene where he's just basically lost his mind and is walking around in Rome with just his coat on, and you can tell he's nude underneath. A sweet little girl comes up and says,
bless my dolly.
Yeah, in another language. And he snaps, and he actually backhands her and just walks away from this little girl that has come to, Father, please bless my dolly. And you see how strong this demon is. And also, that that's not him, because he's so compassionate with the girl. but also not compassionate because he's a little abrasive.
He's also, I think, doing that from a place of care.
Okay, because the way he interacts...
Tough love.
Tough love? Is that what that was?
Tough
because when he's interacting with... when Father Lucas is interacting with the mother, there's a second child that's being plagued by the demon, and they go to see the child, and he starts like yelling at her, like he's got a bite mark on him. He's like, did you do this? Who did this? And they're like, well, we don't know. And he's like, okay, but
that is to eliminate that as a variable.
Like he just got hostile with them a little bit, just to
shock them just a little bit to see if
what their reactions were going to be.
Yeah.
Now, also, the reason I bring this case up is because I was a little perplexed with the frog. He goes in and he plays over the boy, and he says, Diablo, Diablo, and he tears into his pillow, and he pulls out a frog, and he throws, and he prays. But then Michael sees that he carries frogs in his bag. So why would Father do this with this little boy?
So my assumption with this, it's operating like a placebo effect.
Okay.
Let me take all of your negative feelings, let me give it a face, and now let me eliminate that face.
Because sometimes our own will can be stronger.
Yes, it can.
It really can be. So let's also honor that upon doing that, then your own will is saying, no, Father came in and took care of this, screw you. That might be enough to drive something away. And then if they call back and be like, okay, let's do this again. I'm glad we walked through that. I kind of needed that little scene there because I was even a little perplexed. Like, why is he doing that? What is the symbolism in there? Of that. But it also casts more doubt from Michael, who was trying to find his faith and believe in this stuff. So he's like, this bag of tricks here.
He even calls it a bag
of tricks. He
does.
He calls it a bag of tricks. What is this that you're doing? Are you giving them just some hope, or do you believe in it? Is it words? So there's a lot of that happening between Father Lucas and Michael throughout the movie.
So again, going back to Father Lucas now being possessed, we see him, he starts to exhibit signs of the possession. We see the random hand tremors,
the unknowable truths,
the stares, the snapping, it's
complete personality shift.
Complete 180 on the personality. And it's crazy. So one fun fact about this, as far as Sir Anthony Hopkins' portrayal of this character, Father Lucas, during the possession scenes, he improvised most of them.
Really?
To the point where the camera crew really didn't know what would happen.
Wow, that really makes the understanding of that scene, it was more chaotic, because you're like, where? Because he would just come from like different angles, and all of a sudden he was behind Michael, and then he was over here, and knowing that he actually created more of that chaos in it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I know there's controlled chaos in a movie, like we're going to shoot this here, we're going to do this, and we're going to collide it all together. But when you create it and make that more of a maddening room, because by that point, this scene that we're in, Michael has come to him. There's a journalist that's involved now.
Because she also went through the course.
She went through the course, and also discusses that her brother potentially was possessed years and years ago.
And that's something that gets used against her by Father Lucas.
Gets used against, well, not by Father Lucas, by the demon.
By the demon.
By the demon. And they're in this room, and he specifically tells Michael, you have to lock me in this room and go get the other Father Xavier that had actually introduced Michael and Father Lucas, and you need help with this. And Father Xavier's out of town.
Yep, he's nowhere to be found.
Again, Michael is being challenged with his faith and what he can do and where he has to step up at, with this constant little push spiritually behind him.
And Father Lucas specifically calls out, you will not be able to beat this until you believe.
Yes.
And we see that exactly happen.
Yes. And what's also interesting to me, and I know that there's a godly aspect of this, is that the spirit of Michael's mother is a huge push in a lot of this. When we get to where he's fighting to the point where he's either going to be killed by this demon or find his voice and his faith to do the demon, he goes through the visualizations, and he carries with him, even though he doesn't have his full faith, he carries with him almost like a tarot card sized picture of Archangel Michael. Yeah. And on the back of it, his mother has written, "You are never alone. He always walks, he always walks with you." And you see him going through that. So it's also not even just like his love of faith, but there was that connection from his mom, because she always told him that she felt like he was touched by God. And it was almost like that love of his mother exuberating his faith and her, to me, in that scene, and his mother, and he finally says, "I believe." And then that's when he's able to fight back and use the words, because you can read a spell, you can read any kinds of prayers out of the book, but if you don't believe in the words that you're saying, then there is no power behind it.
There's no power. And I think that's the lesson of this movie, really. You can say you have faith. You can do the motions. Mm-hmm. You can read whatever you want to read. But until you actually believe, there's no results
and no power.
I think that's the real meaning of this movie.
Yes. Now, something that we have not said yet that I think is kind of big.
Okay.
Baal takes over a priest. A demon takes over a priest. That is the ultimate. Like, if I'm in the demon realm and I'm like, I'm going to possess somebody today, and you take over a priest and you claim a priest,
warrior of God.
A warrior, yeah. Like, you took over a warrior of God. That's
an exorcist at that.
Yes, like that is big. So that also attacks our faith and our beliefs as well, because really what we see in cinema, as well as, I'm going to say, the real world, who are the people that typically get possessed?
It's the weak.
And the believers.
The vulnerable.
Is it the vulnerable and the weak, not the believers?
It's the vulnerable and the weak.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Because, so even if you say, like, I'm a man of God.
Because, again, the belief gives you power. It's the vulnerable and the weak.
The vulnerability and the weak.
Think about Reagan from The Exorcist.
Yes.
She was a young girl.
Mm.
She was vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know what she was messing with.
Mm-hmm.
She's vulnerable and weak.
Yeah, and that seems to be a lot. And then here you have this 16-year-old girl that's vulnerable and weak. And then when she passes, you have a father that is vulnerable and weak after going through an exorcism. And we see a bunch of several big events. So those big events are exhausting. And going through that type of wreckage on your body, you're going to be tired. So he was a tired old man. And yeah, that would have been like, had they gotten him, that really would have been some chaos in the world.
That would have been
Did you just see the demons playing poker? Did you hear about that time I got a priest?
All I was picturing was the demon pantheon, like the dogs playing poker. Like that painting with the cigars and the whiskey out and the poker.
Yeah, it's just like, but that's what I feel like it would be, because that's the highest order to take down a warrior of God, and isn't that what evil is trying to do? So,
all right, my love. So now let's start diving into the cinematography aspect of the Rite.
Okay.
Early on, this film uses a colder, desaturated palette. The world feels gray. It's almost lifeless, mirroring Michael's lack of faith. Even in the seminary scenes, they look sterile, like it almost belongs in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
As you start progressing into Rome and into the exorcism schools, and eventually into the ending of the film with Father Lucas being possessed and all that, the saturation levels come up.
Mm-hmm.
And you see more of those colors coming out. You see more of a wider color palette being used. Mm-hmm. So it's bringing color, it's bringing life, it's bringing energy and essence into it, which honestly was a little interesting. You usually see people playing with light a lot. This movie played a lot with saturation.
Okay, yeah.
One of the things that I absolutely loved about this movie, the way that it's filmed in Rome, and with the way they're using Rome as this kind of gothic backdrop. It's amazing. The old buildings, the cobblestone roads, fences,
the architecture of the buildings, seeing the Vatican. Even when we were back in Michael's hometown, and while there was this sterile vibe to it, there was also this very old, because even the sign that said Kovac and Sons family funeral home, the sign was like from the 50s. It was, and the movie was not time period in the 50s. It was, later on, but there was that old world, and it was like, wow, it's a small town. And then you get over to Rome, and it's just, the whole scene just lights up for me with all of the architecture. And I'm a big fan of cats, so I've heard many of things that there is a lot of cats in Rome, and that they hang around the Vatican. So I love when they get to Father Lucas's fabulous little place with the fences, and there's all these cats running around and stuff, and it just gave this old world beauty to all this that was going on around.
It also gave a sense that the city was hiding secrets. It gave this
dark corners,
tight alleyways, looming churches, that just gave it this sinister feel almost.
Yes. And anytime, even I'm thinking back to when they were stuck in the car, when Michael and Angeline, I was going to call her Angelique. Angeline are stuck in the car, and they're talking about their paths and their life story. And why are they stuck in the car? It's not because of traffic. It's because there's been a horrible accident. There's a dead body on the road.
Right?
It's just that, death everywhere.
All right, so something else that they did with this movie cinematically, that's not necessarily cinematography, it's not to do with camera movements or anything. It's more about the music, the ambience.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice the background track, the soundtrack of the movie, during scenes of intense tension, it actually drops down. Incredibly quiet. You can hear a fly buzzing. You can hear breathing. You can hear that tension kind of build. And then it snaps. It just snaps into like a scream or a yell or something like that just it jars you just a little bit. And things like that really do help to elevate this level of fear.
Yes.
In the movie.
Yes. I seen that. Something that I noticed in the movie that unsettled me a little bit and gave me kind of like a was, did you notice that when people were in the possession, and that included Rosario, the pregnant teenage girl, and Father Lucas, that when they were in like the thralls of being possessed, that you would see that their skin, like there would almost be this like blue that would like,
it would model.
It would, it would, I mean, like their veins were coming up. But there was a quick scene where you're watching Father Lucas, and you don't see it up here, because on Rosario you see, I mean, the thing's just like covering her face, but it's at his ankles, so it's fighting. So it's like you could see they just did like this quick shot of like his legs, but it was interesting because you could also see him fighting, you know, trying to keep it down, but it was like trying to come up through the legs, and I was like, yeah. And I have a real serious problem with the feet area. Like, don't mess with the Achilles heel. So the demon coming up through the feet and messing around the ankles, I was not happy with.
Let's move into the climax of the movie.
The final scene with the final
exorcism.
Okay.
Right? In that scene, the shadows get deeper, the lighting gets more harsh, it gets more sharp. So there's a good contrast that's going on there that allows Father Lucas to utilize those shadows quite a bit to accentuate that character, that demonic, that light and dark that's being used. Have you all also noticed, once Michael takes control, up until that point in that scene, he's been shot from above, making him seem smaller. Once he claims his power, he's actually shot from below, symbolizing him growing and getting stronger.
Nice.
Very
nice,
interesting.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I love those like little things, especially like, when you catch those. That's a good one.
Yeah. All right, my love. So now let's start moving into fun facts about the Rite. Here's a fun one for you. It's kind of based on a real story.
Okay, thank you. Because in the beginning, it does say this is based on true events. So who's the true events? Because I know at the end they talk about Michael. Tell me.
So this movie is actually loosely based upon Matt Baglio's nonfiction book, The Rite, Making of a Modern Exorcist. Baglio followed around real Catholic priest named Father Gary Thomas, who was trained as an exorcist in Rome. And here's the kicker. Father Thomas himself was a consultant on the film.
Wow. That also explains the journalist in the movie that went around and was trying to... So the journalist character, she goes and takes the class and then is trying to write a story to bring it all forward. That makes a nice little loop with that. That little come back around. Okay.
So when you see Michael, or you see Father Lucas going through the prayers and the rituals that an exorcist goes through, those are actually pulled from real exorcist training.
That, I mean,
it's fun. It adds a lot of credence.
No, it does. It adds a lot of credence to it. I mean, and if you are following the cases, that this is real. Like, this is not just a cinematic thing. There are priests. There is a class at the Vatican to teach priests how to deal in exorcisms. So that on its own is scary to think about for most people.
All right, another fun fact for you. Michael in this movie, played by Chris O'Donoghue, found out that he got the role of this film 2 days before they started filming. This was his breakout role. This was his first real role as an actor. He found out 2 days before they started filming that he got it.
Was he a second choice or something?
I'm not sure on that, but I know he was told very, very small window.
Small window. Get on set.
It was pretty much one of those, hey, guess what, kid? You're going to play opposite of Sir Anthony Hopkins in an exorcism film. Don't mess it up.
Oh my gosh. I know it's not horror, but I mean, that's got to be like when Anne Hathaway got told she was going to work with Meryl Streep. By the way, I love you, Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? Like that kind of level. So that was his breakout role. Wow, that's really cool. He did really well.
He did incredibly well.
Really well for his whole demeanor and the personality. I mean, he just really embodied that. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
Nice job.
I mean, to be told you got a role 2 days before you have to arrive in Rome
and dive into it and become this character.
Yeah.
And Sir Anthony Hopkins. Right?
So now here's something funny, kind of interesting about this. While the Vatican themselves never officially endorsed this movie, word got around about it, and a lot of the clergy actually flocked to the movie theater to see it. Imagine going to see this in movie theaters, and the first 3 rows are just filled with priests and clergy members.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I could imagine that.
Wow.
Just popcorn in hand.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, I knew that Sister Marian that did that one. There's got to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
They took to it.
They did.
Yeah.
Wow. I like this. This one was... This is an interesting concept because, again, I'm going to come back down to that this is a real practice that is happening in our society. So also, as in when we covered heretic and a lot of the Mormon practices that were happening, and on that one were the Mormon they supported it, though. That was the difference. The Vatican wasn't a part of this one, was a part of the Rite, whereas the Mormon community really was like supporting that one on some level, right?
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
And one last fun fact for you, and then we'll move on. Rome was actually not used for as much of the scenery as you think it is.
I was going to say Rome wasn't built in a day. So they did not film a lot in Rome.
A lot of it was actually filmed in Budapest.
Really? What?
Yeah.
Wow. So now I'm wondering which parts were filmed in Budapest. Because I'm like, well, which houses and stuff, because there's a lot of great scenery in there. And my mind keeps flashing to a point when they were going to see one family and it's raining, and you've got all the people it's those cobblestone streets with their laundries hanging out, and it's raining, so you don't know if they're washing it or trying to dry it.
Absolutely. All right, my love. So now let's start getting into our ratings for the Rite.
Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5
Skulls.
Cinematography.
1 out of 5 skulls. What do you give it?
I'm gonna go with 4 skulls.
Okay. Why?
I really did enjoy the cinematography in this. Outside of finding out a bunch of it was in Budapest, and now I don't know which one was Budapest and which one was Rome. However, overall, the scenery of Rome, the color scheme, the warmth, the how they did the shadowing and the lighting and the saturation in it, I enjoyed all the way through the movie.
I would agree with your assessment of the cinematography of it. I would say this deserves a 4 as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well shot. There's a lot of meticulous thinking around using the cinematography of it to tell additional story to what's going on. The saturation I was talking about, the camera shakes,
the angles that they utilized. Yes.
Yeah. I think this does a solid good job cinematically.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd say it's a 4 as well.
Okay.
All right, next category, fright factor, fear factor. 1 out of 5 skulls. What do you give it?
Dang, I think I'm gonna go. I was tingling between a 3 and a 4. I'm gonna go 4 again because of I look at that from the aspect of the demonic possessions and finding out the additional ways that they could enter through our weaknesses and our brokenness, and that stirs something in me that kind of piqued that up. And then the whole the Vatican and religious and faith and attacking a warrior of God, that kind of pings a little bit in there. So that's it's like a low 4.
Okay. I was actually going to say for me, this is probably a high 4, maybe a 5.
Really?
Because as we've discussed previously, it's that fear of the unknown. It's that questioning of faith, that shaking of the bedrock of who you are. I find that unnerving but intriguing. I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
But on a higher 4.
But a higher 4.
Okay.
For me. All right, everybody. That is our assessment of the film The Rite, starring Anthony Hopkins and Chris O'Donoghue. If you agree with our assessment of this film, please let us know in the comments below. If you think we're completely off base here and we have other things we need to consider with this, leave that as well. And if you have any recommendations for future movies for us to cover on this channel, please, by all means, drop that in the comments. We'd love to dive further into this world of weird cinema with you guys.
And I promise to say hello if we use it.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, hold on. Let me...
Like, comment, subscribe to stay spooky. I was just happy.
Thank you. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe in order to stay spooky
and stay weird.